I've been reading Genesis chapter 3, and I had a number of questions. Verse 1 says, "The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made." If man was made in the image of God, what does that mean for animals? And what exactly made the serpent different? Was it simply a creature, or was something else at work through it? In verses 1 and 2, the serpent asks the woman whether God had said they should not eat of every tree. The woman responds by mentioning only the tree in the midst of the garden. But the garden also had the tree of life. Why was that one not mentioned in the conversation? In verse 6, it says the woman gave the fruit to her husband and he ate. That raises another question. Where was the man during the conversation with the serpent? And when she handed him the fruit, why did he not refer back to the instruction God had given? Verse 7 says their eyes were opened and they realized they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together. How did they suddenly know how to do that? Did knowledge expand instantly? Or is this symbolic language describing awareness? In verse 8, it says they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. What does it mean for a voice to walk? Is this describing presence in a human way so we can understand it? Later, in verses 17 to 19, God speaks about toil and working the ground. Does this mark the moment when survival through labor was introduced? Before this, everything seems given. After this, effort becomes necessary. Verse 19 says man will return to the ground. Is this what God meant when he said they would surely die? Did death begin that day? Not immediate physical death, but the introduction of mortality. In verse 21, God makes coats of skins to clothe them. That suggests an animal had to die. Some see this as symbolic of sacrifice and covering. Is this the first picture of redemption? In verse 22, God prevents man from eating from the tree of life and living forever. Why did the serpent never suggest that fruit instead? And in verse 24, cherubim are placed at the east of the garden. Why mention the east specifically? These are not conclusions, just questions that came up as I read Genesis 3. If you have thought about any of these, I would genuinely like to hear your perspective.